And we are live. Hello and welcome everybody to the Mirror Gaming Walkthrough, the weekly gaming news show full of spicy takes and juicy gossip. Today we have got some very interesting topics to go over, including the Xbox Showcase 2023, which is coming this weekend. We'll be discussing all of our predictions for what we are hoping to see in that, as well as Summer Games Fest, which is tomorrow evening. Alongside that, we have had some insane developments in the world of VR, including the announcement of the Meta Quest 3 just last week and Apple Vision Pro, the brand new AR/VR headset coming from Apple. It comes in at over £3,000, so get your wallets ready for that one. So strap in for the next hour and a half and roll the trailers.
Are you prepared to go public with your KD online or
no?
Everyone thinks he or she is the best football expert on the planet.
You see it in the back page of the Mirror, deal agreed.
I think the most important thing is just to have fun. What?
310?
No, what button is it?
Well, hello.
We're ready to come for the W, yeah?
Ooh, 12.
Ooh, here we go.
If you can master second man press, you will defend 10 times better.
Today I'm going to be reviewing the PSVR 2 headset. Hello everybody, again welcome to the Mirror Gaming Walkthrough. I'm joined today with gaming editor Nathan Bliss. How are you today, Nathan?
Hello, very good. A bit tired, getting back into the swing of things after a week off, but yeah, very glad to be back. Thanks, Jasmine.
Thank you for being here. And we've also got gaming content creator Aaron Potter. How are you?
I'm good. You didn't think you could have an episode of the Mirror Gaming Walkthrough without me, did you? So, come on, I'm here. I'm ready to go.
So guys,
irreplaceable.
We've got some interesting topics to delve into. Right, okay,
gonna get copyright straight if we carry
Come on, we're gonna get in trouble.
Consummate professionals.
Sorry, YouTube.
We've got some very interesting topics to talk about today. I am actually really excited to talk about the Xbox Showcase with both of you guys because you have strong opinions surrounding Xbox, with Nathan swinging all the way one way and Aaron swinging all the way the opposite way. So guys, no fighting, please. Right, listen, I'm hosting the podcast today. If you guys stop fighting, I'm going to be really upset with you. So the Xbox and Starfield Showcase will take place on Sunday, June 11th at 6 p.m. BST. And while no official runtime has been announced, it's set to be a lengthy showcase with the Xbox Game Showcase starting the show and the dedicated Starfield Showcase airing directly after. Microsoft's VP of Xbox Games Marketing, Aaron Greenberg, has confirmed that the upcoming Xbox Games Showcase will feature no CGI trailers for first-party titles. Is that a dig? Is that a dig at Sony? Who knows? So we're expecting to see Starfield, Avowed, State of Decay 3, Fable, Everwild, Perfect Dark, Contraband, and I don't know how to say this one. I'm really sorry. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Is that right?
Senua.
Right, nice.
Yeah.
Senua, sorry. Right.
That's right.
What are you guys most excited to see? Let's just jump straight into it. Nathan, what are you excited to see? You spoke a little bit about this before, so I want you to take us away.
I just want to see games. As someone who's got an Xbox, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, but I've not got a lot to play in terms of Xbox for first-party titles right now. So I'm really excited just to see games that are exciting. I know that's a boring answer, but Starfield looks like it could be the game of the year potentially, in my opinion, if they get it right. Fable also, if they get that right, that could be huge. I feel like Xbox is a little bit on the back foot, considering the games that have already been released this year. We've had a really good run with titles recently. A lot of really well-reviewed games, and the fact that Xbox have had Redfall, Hi-Fi Rush. I mean, to be kind, it's been a bit of a mixed bag for Xbox so far in 2023. So they really need to showcase some special stuff at this showcase, in my opinion. So I just want to come out of the showcase feeling excited and wanting to play these games. I think that seems like the bare minimum at this point for for a showcase. What they're looking for you to kind of get out of it. But for me, like, it is sort of really important that it's just exciting to see certain games because, yeah, like I said before, it's been rough to be an Xbox owner, so a lot hinges on this showcase.
Right, so hopefully, Aaron, you can come up with a more interesting answer than games. What are you excited
know.
to see? I mean,
Uh,
I will appreciate the expansion, Nathan, but the initial answer was a bit confusing.
I think why I said that was because there has been
Just
no games.
Xbox have
Like,
no
I just want to
games,
see
yeah,
that.
so-
Yeah, I want to see
fair enough.
games.
at a game showcase, I've got good news for you, Nathan. We're gonna see games. When these
Are we?
games come out,
Is that confirmed?
who's to say? I think that's been confirmed. Aaron Greenberg's already been on the blower. In terms of what I'm excited for, I am kind of curious, like, because as Nathan's kind of hinted at, like, Xbox has had a mixed bag this year. Redfall, need we say more? Like, that was meant to be their big summer heavy hitter. It didn't
Redfall
hit.
does make a cameo in every single one of
Every
our podcasts,
podcast,
doesn't
It
it?
does. I think that's a ritual now. If we're like 100 episodes down the line on this podcast, we should still hopefully name check Redfall every now and then,
Yeah.
if not at all times. But no, what I'm excited for is I'm especially excited about the lack of CGI trailers because gameplay is king. Gameplay is what matters. And while a CGI trailer is pretty good at like setting a mood of a game and sort of like letting you peek more into the world that you're going to inhabit, it's only when you see in-engine gameplay, Unreal Engine 5, which is what we should be getting a lot of these games developed in now. That is what excites me most. And out of that list that you read out just at the beginning, Jasmine, I think I'm really excited to hear more about Perfect Dark, because Perfect Dark is a game, obviously it was made by Rare. It was the follow-up from GoldenEye on Nintendo 64. That team went on to go and then make Time Splitters, which Time Splitters 3, Future Perfect, one of my favorite games. So I'm kind of hoping to see if some of that Time Splitters-esque DNA lives on in the Perfect Dark reboot. But as we know from Jason Schreier's reports and what have you, that team, the initiative, the quadruple A studio Xbox was meant to be building, has had a lot of fallbacks. I really think, like, with the PlayStation Showcase happening a couple of weeks ago that obviously Shabana and Nathan, who's on the podcast now, reacted to, there were games there, but what it lacked was games that are coming soon. It seems that Marvel Spider-Man 2, PlayStation is hedging all of its bets on Marvel Spider-Man 2 potentially coming in September. We know it's going up against Starfield in September from Xbox. I don't have faith that Starfield's going to hit in the way Xbox needs it to hit. Again, Phil Spencer said it himself a couple of weeks back. Even if it's an 11 out of 10, they're still going to struggle to sell Xboxes. Well, Phil, you need to have a look at what's going on then, don't you? So, I believe that Xbox, what I'm getting at, I believe Xbox has got something in the canon for the holiday. After that September slot, I think we're going to see another first-party Xbox release hit in November. Probably won't be this, but I'm hoping it's Gears of War 6.
Oh,
Gears 5 came out in 2019, I want to say. It was 2019 or 2020. It was 4 years. 4 years to make a sequel to a game where you know how to develop it, you know these characters and world. I feel like if it's not announced for this year, we're definitely going to get a tease for Gears of War 6.
that'd be exciting. I just want to mention as well, just from the PlayStation Showcase that myself and Shabana live streamed. Obviously, as someone who's been Xbox for a long time, watching that was really exciting for me to see all these games. But then when I reflected on it afterwards, a lot of the games were CGI trailers, which you kind of, when you watch things and you get excited, it's kind of easy to look past that sometimes.
It's the heat of the moment thing, which is why
Exactly.
they can get away with it a bit during the showcase. Right? People
And also,
just see it and they're like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, and also there wasn't many PlayStation exclusives actually. Looking at the games, a lot of them were both Xbox and PlayStation. There wasn't many PlayStation exclusives, obviously. Obviously Spider-Man 2 was, but yeah, if you look at like Assassin's Creed, Alan Wake 2, I think, so all the games that I was really excited about were coming out on both anyway. Yeah, Metal Gear, Marathon. Dragon's Dogma 2, I think, is coming out on both as well, potentially. So
yeah, absolutely it is.
I think me and Aaron touched on this a little bit when we did the Jasmine and Aaron show last week. Twice we did the
there was a couple.
And the Metagaming Showcase, we streamed that, and we touched on a little bit about how there weren't very many first-party exclusives, and that's kind of what people go to PlayStation for, right? So, and also, I know that this whole podcast is going to end up being VR talk, but as a VR fanatic and a PSVR 2 owner, that was really disappointing for VR fans. The PlayStation Showcase. There was one title announced, brand new, and then there were 2 titles which are already on MetaQuest, which are now
One of
coming
them
to
was
PS2.
Beat Saber,
And one of them was
which
Beat Saber, which should have been there at launch.
yeah, but Beat Saber shouldn't get the pop it did like during a showcase. Like everyone was like, "Yay, Beat Saber is finally on PSVR 2." Like,
Yeah, that
why are we
literally
getting
should
excited
just
about this
be-
game?
Yeah, that should have been there from launch, and when it finally arrived, it shouldn't have taken up a whole spot in the showcase. But
Yeah.
if I get too much into VR, I won't stop talking about it.
You
So
won't come out of VR. Come back from the
let's-
virtual reality, Jasmine. Don't get lost.
let's move on a little bit. I think, in my opinion, this showcase is going to be a make or break for a lot of Xbox owners, probably including yourself, Nathan. It's going to be sort of like the slap on the wrist that you need to be like, you know what? Yeah, I need to just get out of this realm of Xbox and move over to PlayStation. And I'm not I'm not heavy on one side or the other with console. I mean, I have a PlayStation 5. I love my PlayStation 5, but I'm a solid PC gamer, so I feel like I don't really like get involved in in console wars just yet. But do you think that that's the case for you, Nathan? Do you think that if the Starfield Direct isn't as good as you're expecting, it's going to sort of sway you onto Team Blue?
Potentially, I think if anything, the initial Xbox showcase is probably more important than the Starfield Direct, because we've already seen some Starfield gameplay. I think if there's very little excitement from Xbox Showcase, and then they have the Starfield Direct the day afterwards, the pressure that puts on Starfield to be the game that they're releasing this year is immense, even more so than what it was before. There's already huge pressure on it, but if we come out of that showcase and there's no big surprises, or there's no, I mean, there's got to be stuff in the bag that they're not showing us. There's got to be, as Aaron alluded to, there's got to be some things that they're, that something special, wait till the end sort of thing, that they must have things up their sleeve, because that's just out of more than hope than expectation, though, to be honest. Because if there isn't anything that we think, you know what, that is amazing, and then we wait for the Starfield showcase, in summary, I think the Xbox showcase is very, very, very crucial. The way that their year's gone so far, if you look at all the games that have come out this year, like I said before, they're already on the back foot. And if this is just games that are coming out in the next 12 months or so, if there's nothing to excite people, then what are you waiting for, sort of thing? As an Xbox owner, what are you waiting for? And that thing is Starfield, but then there's so much hope on one game. Are you really going to own a console for one game? That's the thing. So I just hope that they're saving these little special, like Fable, for example. If they reveal a Fable game and it's Unreal Engine 5, as Aaron said, and it's everything that fans want it to be, that would be a sensational reveal. But again, we'd have to see some of the gameplay to see what that's all about. But yeah, it's tough being an Xbox owner, right? Because you look at all the games. We're in June. Yeah. It's halfway through the year. Like, it's not like it's January or February time. Like, we've waited 6 months for, I mean, even longer than that, for this Xbox showcase to actually give us some games. So, in summary, I think, Starfield is obviously the one that everyone's talking about, but the showcase, if the showcase can be good, and the showcase can give Xbox players some kind of hope, there's less pressure on Starfield, and that's good, because if there's loads of pressure on Starfield, there's a potential for it to be rushed out. There's potential for it to be unfinished. Yeah, exactly. So what someone in my WhatsApp just said. There's potential for that game to not release under the right pretenses. So the less pressure that's on that game, the better for both Xbox and Xbox players as well.
I just don't think that's realistic, though. I think all the pressure is on Starfield. I think that's already sort of set in stone. It's too late for them to sort of backtrack and fix that, because that was just the case as soon as Redfield came out and was a horrible mess on launch. It became like, okay, now everyone's waiting to see if the same thing is going to happen with Starfield, and if it does, everyone's going to start sticking their Xboxes on eBay. I think
I
the
think-
pressure's already there.
My point is though, if there's less pressure on it, Xbox might be like, okay, guy, they might come to like July, August time, and if Starfield is not perfect, they have to make a decision at that point. If that's their only game that people are excited about, they sort of have to release it. Probably not from. I wouldn't do it, but just thinking about like the execs, you
Don't we
kind
have
of
a
have to
confirmed
release it.
release date for Starfield already? It's
September, yeah.
September.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But what my point is, if there's so much pressure on it that if this showcase doesn't deliver anything that could be exciting, then there's even more pressure to be like, okay, we have to hit that release date. And although obviously it's got a confirmed release date and everything, things can move all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Of course. Yeah.
I would rather it be delayed and it be good, to be honest, and then we
Yeah.
can play some Fable and we can look forward to other games in the meantime.
I've
but-
always said it. I'd rather games come out late and in a playable state than come out early and be a horrible, miserable mess,
Absolutely,
and then
yeah.
developers forget about them and leave them as a horrible, miserable mess
Yeah.
for years and years, and
Yeah.
that's that.
Because imagine if we have the showcase and there's nothing, and we do another podcast next week and we say nothing in that showcase was any good. I'm not excited about it. Everything's on Starfield now, and then they delay Starfield.
They won't.
That is the worst possible. Yeah, I know, but imagine
can't.
that is the worst possible situation.
Yeah.
But they can't. They
Put
literally
themselves in a
can't.
position where they can't. It's been delayed
Yeah.
enough. They've got. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I just said that. I think they've got something else in the canon for the end of this year, but that is me hoping.
Hope.
You got to have hope in these things. But I think it's interesting because even the thing about having no CGI trailers is interesting because they've already said they're not going to do the 12-month thing again because they did that before and it shot them in the foot. And I feel like they're in this position now where they want to excite people, but if they do so too much, then it sets the expectation high, and they're constantly in this cycle of over-promising, under-delivering. And Xbox, that's the last thing Xbox needs now. So if I was them, I'd be focusing on games where they're looking good behind the scenes, be that third party or first party. Obviously, we want to see some first party games as well. That's why I think Gears of War 6, even if it is like that's going to be like, if I had to guess, that's going to be like the final one more thing. Scott in the chat says,
Yeah, I was going to say he's calling you out a bit here. They can't, bro. They literally delayed Halo from the Xbox Series X launch.
Yeah, but I still stand by that. There's no chance on this earth, and if I'm wrong, there's no way they're dedicating.
What you do, Aaron?
Oh, if I'm wrong, then I don't know. Something with Uwe Burger instantly came to mind for blood reasons earlier. But like, I've made me lose my train of thought now. That's it. There's the Starfield Direct immediately after the Xbox one. So they cannot talk about it in June when it's literally 3 months out from release and then delay it again. That game needs to be going gold in weeks.
Right, guys, tune back in September to see if Aaron has to eat an entire Uwe burger within 20 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, I like the sound
if
of
he's
that.
wrong. If he's wrong. You like the sound of that, but it's not going to be good.
I tell you what, if you make me eat another chicken Big Mac again like that, I wouldn't consider that delightful. So if we got to do
there we
something
go.
further,
Aaron will eat an entire chicken Big Mac in 20 seconds if he is wrong about this and if Starfield gets delayed.
Isn't that a limited time? I don't want to.
I'll buy it now and I'll freeze it.
We can make our own or something. We can buy two chicken sandwiches. Yeah.
Can I just get in Redfall again?
Right. Yeah. Go on.
Because there's more people playing Forspoken on Steam right now.
Really?
Than
well, I mean, people are playing Redfall on Xbox Game Pass most likely, other than anything else, right? And it's not. It's
doubt
not
anyone's
tracking.
playing Redfall.
I know. I do doubt that anyone's playing it, but the people that
Yeah.
are playing it are definitely playing it on Game Pass because there's no way people are spending the amount.
Still waiting for that 60. Still waiting for that 60 FPS update. Arcane. How's that?
Yeah,
coming
where's
along?
that? Where's that?
Yeah, where's
when
that?
did Starfield come out?
But this is what I'm saying is that they release games in this unplayable state and then they promise all of this stuff. And me and Aaron spoke last week a little bit about apology screens on Twitter and how they've become such a common occurrence now that seeing a block of text come from a publisher is literally like causes trauma for a lot, especially
what's
PC
happened now?
gamers.
Yeah,
but there's always something wrong, right? Every game that comes out has this like a big wall of apology text along with it. But developers put these apology texts out saying, we're going to fix it. We're going to release X, Y, Z. We're going to release patches. We're going to release updates. And then typically it takes them so long to do that, if they ever do, that I feel like it means that a lot of players miss out on the initial hype of the game, which is something that is really important to people. I'm not saying that because I have massive FOMO or anything, but when you see everyone talking about playing a game and you just can't get on in it because it's unplayable. Finally you can, and no one's playing it anymore. It feels like you sort of missed the mark now, and it's kind of like, well, obviously I'm still going to play it because I wanted to play this game, but you just don't have the same excitement that you originally had going into it on release day, and it's just really disappointing. And luckily with Redfall, it wasn't just PC players that had an issue, it was everyone. So I feel like everyone missed out on that mark, and it wasn't specifically me. But that it's been the case with I don't know, like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, or when The Last of Us was finally ported to PC. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play The Last of Us, and then I saw all of this stuff about, oh yeah, it keeps crashing, oh it's unplayable. Even our own Matt Aldous streamed it on I think it was on launch day for PC, and the game crashed 4 or 5 times in that stream alone, and it was just like, okay, well, I'm not going to get this then, am I? Like, why would I even do that? And I still haven't, because they haven't fixed it, and it's still not in a playable state now, months later. So that's just my take on it. I don't know if you guys have any input about that.
I much rather would see that graphic Twitter post before a game comes out than afterwards.
100%.
Because if I've already bought the game and then I see it and I'm like, well, why didn't you just do that and delay it for a bit before you made me buy the game? Well, not made me, but put the game out there to be bought when you know it was in an unplayable state. But yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where we've already had it with Redfall and Starfield. We've already had that graphic out for delays. We've already experienced that before. Redfall, we know, was a mess. Starfield is an even bigger game, and it cannot afford to be a mess. If it's a mess, I just can't see why you would buy an Xbox. Genuinely, why would you buy an Xbox? I mean,
what games have there been on this generation of Xbox, as like not just this year alone, since the generation's launched?
So
Halo,
Forza Horizon 5,
Forza,
Game
that
of the
was
Year contender.
Brilliant game. Yep.
Redfall, obviously, Hi-Fi Rush, and then I'm struggling. I really am struggling.
Yeah.
The smaller things like Pentiment, which was like a downloadable title from Obsidian. That's technically first party.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then if you go over to PS5 and you're like, oh yeah, what first party PS5 games have come out since the launch of PS5?
You have the opposite problem, is because there's too many to think of. Yeah.
If I started listing now, it'd go to the end of the podcast. Like they have released some really amazing games, and they're now starting to release sequels for these games. What would you say if Xbox announced that this weekend that they're releasing out like Redfall 2 or something? It'd be like no one would be excited. Or Hi-Fi Rush, which was great. Even if they said we're releasing Hi-Fi Rush 2, I'd be like, okay.
With Hi-Fi Rush though, for as good as that game is, like, and I enjoyed it. I played it a little bit, didn't finish it, but I feel like there's always the caveat with Hi-Fi Rush. It's like Hi-Fi Rush was great, but it's not the kind of game that I'm looking to play on my £450, power pushing 4K ready home console type thing. And it's come to Steam as well. I know that, like, most first-party games seem to end up on Steam now. Ratchet and Clank's on its way. But I agree, like, PlayStation have been knocking it out of the park lately, and now this is the reason why Xbox needs to nail it with their showcase, because they've basically got an open goal net. Like, it's very rare that PlayStation go ahead of Xbox in the E3 period. That's how we ended up with things where the Xbox One price was announced, and then later on that afternoon, the PS4 price was announced, and everyone's cheering because it was $50 less. And that's when they showed that, here's how you share games on PlayStation, handing it to literally the person stood next to him. So I feel like if I was Xbox and I was Phil Spencer right now, I would have been taking copious notes during the PlayStation showcase and then basically designing my showcase around as a response to that one. And I think that's why the CGI stuff is out. Like, people aren't happy with it. So
yeah, I was just going to say about the CGI trailers, going ahead and making a sort of like having a little bit of a dig like that means that your showcase has to be better than PlayStation showcase. Even if there are no CGI trailers and there were some in the PlayStation showcase, fine, cool. If your games that you're announcing aren't better than what PlayStation announced and people aren't more excited, then what was the point of that dig? That's just embarrassing for you, Phil Spencer, mate. Like, come on, that's just really sad.
Yeah.
But
just on the showcase again, I think Phil Spencer needs to look at it Aaron's completely right. They need to take notes, and the way they need to approach it is, okay, let's aim the audience for this showcase needs to be some young child who hasn't got a console yet. These are the games that you need to get because you need to get an Xbox. That's how they need to market it. They need to market it as this is the console to buy, and if you buy the console, these are the games you're going to play on it, because that's if you kind of approach it that way, then that's going to please all the people with Xboxes, because and people without Xboxes as well, because I think when I was growing up, that was exactly how you chose your console. You looked at the games that were available, and you were like, "Yeah, I'd rather that one. Oh, that's only on Xbox. Okay, I'll get an Xbox." Or, "Oh, I want to get that game. It's PlayStation. Okay, I'll get on PlayStation then." So they need to just pretend that they're doing it for a 12-year-old kid who hasn't got a console. You need to buy an Xbox because roll credits. Literally, that's what they need to do.
And what do 12-year-old kids like more than big bulky men with chainsaw guns grinding through aliens? Gears of War 6. This is what I'm saying. That's
all I wanted. That's all I wanted. I wanted that sort of. I remember the first time. I know this is completely off topic, but that sort of shielding mechanic where you sort of crouched down and was side on, and like you could. That was just. It was so innovative at the time, and this whole story of Gears of War was just like, whoa, like the fact that they were coming out of the center of the earth and stuff, and I just haven't had that. I haven't had that sort of magic.
I'm glad I wasn't alive when crouching and shielding was an innovative thing.
Aaron knows what I mean. Aaron knows what I mean, right? That sort of that system of
cover shooting.
It's because at that time in games, there was set areas for cover, I think, and it was pretty obvious. But Gears of War made it so that it was sort of not every surface, but most surfaces were something to hide behind. It was like one of the first games that did that in terms of cover.
Basically, if you want to think about it this way, like Resident Evil 4 pioneered the over-the-shoulder shooting, then Gears of War took that and added the cover like onto it. I think it was 007 Everything or Nothing on the PS2 that technically had a cover shooting system as well, but obviously it didn't work anywhere near as well. But I just have to say, guys, it does upset me a little bit that we're saying like, well, or at least I'm saying that like, for this showcase to be a popper, Xbox needs to bring out the 6th entry in a franchise it first created during the Xbox 360 days. And unfortunately, like that's the case with everything we know that they've got in their arsenal. Fable, Outer Worlds 2, that's a pre-existing franchise. Halo, Gears of War, all these other things. Senua's Sacrifice 2, like these are all like sequel games. I want to see like new first-party franchises be made and invested in, because as much shade as we threw at the PlayStation showcase, well, Marathon wasn't new, but obviously Fair Games with a fair game $sign at the end, obviously, sorry to give it its proper name. That was a new IP. Concord was a new IP. Like it did. Foam Stars was a new IP, even though that's a Square Enix game. It's still exclusive to PlayStation. So it was just a case of that. These new IPs didn't particularly speak to me as someone who values single player, solo, story driven games. So it is a bit of a shame that, but that's the position that Xbox is in right now. And I've heard multiple people say that, like, I don't even think Gears is enough to get me to keep playing on Xbox now. So that's why if I was the Coalition right now, I'd be putting together the best looking Gears of War. This is the first one to run on Unreal Engine 5, get it looking in ship shape, announce it. It's 6 months out. It's going to be ready early next year. Oh, what a pop that would be.
I think a lot of game development studios have been really hesitant to stick release dates on their games now as well, which is something we saw at PlayStation Showcase and also at the Metagaming Showcase. A lot of titles at Metagaming Showcase, because they did announce a bunch of them, did have release time frames, like, oh yeah, coming this autumn, or coming in September, or coming in next year, or whatever. So like you have a general gist, but it was very, very rare that we saw a game with an actual date on it, unless it was sort of within the next 2 weeks or a month or whatever. And I get why, because they don't want to announce it and then be like, well, we're delaying this, because delays have been like, the spotlight of the past few years. Games that people are really excited for, like Starfield, get delayed, like Redfall, get delayed. So they're probably a bit hesitant to put release dates on it. But I think I will be quite disappointed if if there's new IPs and stuff announced at the Xbox Gaming Showcase that don't have release dates on them, because it is just really, really upsetting. And I feel like even if they feel like, yeah, the game's not ready for us to stick a release date on it yet, don't show it to me then. Don't make me excited for a game that's coming out in 2 years' time. Don't make me sit here waiting, twiddling my thumbs, because that's what they're banking on, is that people are going to be like, no, it's fine. Like if they announce some brand new IP, brand new sort of first party exclusive, and then they say, oh yeah, it's coming out in 2025. That's what they're banking on, is that they can keep using that for the next 2 years. I don't want that.
Transition the chat and jump off of Jasmine's point, though, I think that's why I'm excited, particularly about Summer Games Fest.
Yeah,
because
that is what I was going to go into.
Yeah, because like there's been a list of games that we know are confirmed to show, and because obviously in the PlayStation Showcase there were games with dates, but they were third parties. So Alan Wake 2 and Assassin's Creed Mirage both coming in October. I don't think that's a secret that they've chosen a couple of months ahead just to announce the release date. But yeah, in terms of like the list of games here at Summer Games Fest, like Alan Wake 2, Immortals of Avium, which is that Unreal Engine 5 game that's meant to be like a fantasy Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat 1, we know that's coming soon. Baldur's Gate 3, full release of that's coming. Lies of P, which is that Bloodborne-like game everybody's excited about. And then the Cyberpunk 2077 expansion, Phantom Liberty. Like these are all games that you'll be playing before the end of the year, essentially. And that's like really exciting because, yeah, we know about them and they've existed before. But, we haven't seen Alan Wake 2 gameplay yet. That's probably going to be at Summer Games Fest. We haven't seen Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay yet. That is definitely going to be at Summer Games Fest. Yeah. So there's plenty of
Elden Ring DLC
excited.
Potentially as well.
Elden Ring DLC, yeah.
The new Call of Duty game potentially as well.
Yeah, they've been really quiet about Call of Duty, haven't they, this year? I feel like we're usually hearing rumbles by now. What's
yeah, I mean, that's probably because there's no one playing it, so they're just trying to keep a low profile and not overpromise again.
But that's the difference between me and you, though, because I've never played Warzone. Like to me, Call of Duty is campaign, but I know I'm in the minority there. Yeah. Like if they announce that Black Ops is next, I'd be excited.
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly go.
Warzone. Yeah. And it's
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, go on, Nathan.
No, just to quickly go back before we get onto the Summer Showcase, the Summer Games Fest chat. I was just having a quick think to myself about games. I hope you guys know what I mean when I talk about games that made you feel like they were magic. Like when you watched the trailer, you were like, oh my God, I cannot wait to play that game. I was trying to think of like the games that gave you that sort of magical feeling that you literally cannot wait to play them. And there's obviously the Red Dead Redemptions, the Witcher 3, GTA games, all the huge titles that are available on both. But if I'm just thinking about Xbox only titles, I think the last one I can really think about is the Halo 3 in 2006. I remember the trailer of that where Master Chief is there and he throws like a shield ball and the shield's on him, and then he goes to like a crater and there's like a massive thing and it's like do, and it's just the music and everything. And
Are you telling me the last time you were excited for a game was 2006?
No, I'm saying an Xbox exclusive title.
Was 2006?
I think so.
Oh my God.
I think so.
Nathan, why did you buy it? Why did you buy more Xboxes after that? Why did you buy so many?
I don't know.
Let's just get Nathan in the frame for a second here. Look how many Xboxes he's got behind him.
Can you think of it? Oh dear, just block them out. Am I missing any? I'm trying to think of.
Scott has said in the chat, Dragon's Dogma 2 is his.
Yeah, what about that game?
Version of that.
But that's not Xbox exclusive though.
I know, but that's just his input.
I think for me, like I've not historically been an Xbox player. Surprise, surprise. Like my first Xbox was the Xbox One, and that was towards the end of its life cycle. I always went over mates' houses and played the Xbox 360. But if you're talking about like hype trailers, then it's the Gears of War. All around me are familiar. Like that sort of stuff. But
how long was that ago?
That was probably before Halo 3.
Yeah,
if I had to guess. Like I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, Scott specifying that this was before you said Xbox exclusive.
So oh right, okay.
Let him off.
But like I said, but like if you think of Red Dead Redemption 2, The Witcher, GTA, all those sort of games, obviously they give you the magical feeling, right? Aaron, I think you can, and Jasmine, I think you can agree with that. You're probably too young, Jasmine, for those games.
But right, okay. couldn't be a walkthrough podcast without getting in a shot about how young
Red
I am.
Bull, tick. Jasmine's young, tick.
Game Pass, not yet? Question mark. I'm sure we'll get onto that. but yeah, I just the more I talk about it, this is like a therapy to me every week now, where I just sort of talk about how I feel about Xbox, and it's slowly dawning on me, like.
That you made the wrong decision?
Not made the wrong decision, but I've invested in an ecosystem that doesn't give me back what I put into it, sort of thing. This is the
thing about
immediate
Xbox for me as well, is that I feel like Xbox is the more accessible platform in terms of the Xbox Series S is way cheaper.
Yep.
So even when it went on sale on Black Friday, it was less than 200 quid, which is insane to me. You can get a whole console for less than 200 quid, and yeah, it doesn't output in 4K or whatever.
It's 1440p,
but you get
Easy.
1440p 60 frames. That's all right, for less than 200 quid. That is banging. That is really good. And you can access Xbox Game Pass, which I won't go into too much, but it's you pay a monthly membership, you get access to a wide library of games. It's way more accessible than PlayStation is, and somehow, considering both of these factors, guys, somehow they're still losing. I don't understand.
Yeah, Aaron, I'll let you finish off. Jasmine's point, because there's got so brilliant quote. An Xbox Series S is under 200 quid, but
what are you playing on it? Exactly. Redfall. That's it. Like I'll never forget that tweet. People
Minecraft.
were like, oh, this is an amazing deal. Oh, I'm like, great, that's great. What are you playing on it?
Yeah, but this is the thing, is that they set up for this generation of console, they set themselves up so nicely
to not make money. I agree.
Wait, I didn't finish. They set themselves up so nicely to have more people flood to Xbox over PlayStation because it was cheaper, and that is a really big thing for a lot of people. Considering you have to consider the price of the console, and considering when PS5 first came out, people were scalping them for hundreds above their retail cost, so it was easier to get an Xbox. So they set themselves up really nicely before the sort of new generation of games come out, and they still messed it up. They still messed it up so badly. I don't understand.
Because they don't have the quality of the games right there. They don't know how to manage their studios. I mean, I'll have this conversation as much as until the cows come home.
And they're still wanting to spend billions upon billions purchasing
Activision Blizzard.
Blizzard. You can put that billions and billions and billions of dollars. Phil, you listening? Billions and billions of dollars. Invest that in the game studios that you already own and come out with some insane games, please.
I'm sure that Phil doesn't walk into his office every day and goes, I can't wait to not put games out today. Like, game development is hard. The problem is that they've had the time and people are losing patience, and you've already taken people's money. And that's the worst thing, really, is that a lot of people will just, I'm one of them. The Xbox Game Pass subscription comes on my account. Doesn't matter what games are on there. It's coming month. What incentive do they have? Like,
Phil's there in his office going, let's charge Aaron Potter now.
Who's this Aaron Potter guy? Okay, yeah, is his money coming out? That's all I care about. But without giving too much away, I will be. There's a potential chance that I could be sat next to Phil Spencer during the Xbox showcase this weekend, and I'll be watching closely at his face, and I'll be going up to him in between every game announcement. Phil, what's taking so long? What's going on? Is Gear 6 going to be at the show? But,
you better live up to your words, I say, on the podcast.
Hello, Phil.
Right. You speak a lot, but then when you see him, if you just check him out.
Great job. Phil.
Especially, I don't want to lift the curtain too much, but if it's an off the record thing, I'll be like, Phil, what is going on, mate? Come on, what happened with Redfall?
If you had one question for him, is that what you'd just be like, Phil, mate, what's going on? Come on.
I'd be like, Phil, when are you going to put a game out? That's what I'd be like. I don't know.
I don't know if I believe that you'd say that. I don't know if you've got the confidence, Aaron.
Then he'd probably ask me to leave. But I'm a pretty confident guy. I like to think. There's a handful of developers that would give me the nerves. That's Hideo Kojima, and I don't know, maybe Miyamoto. But Phil Spencer's just a guy. That's the constant thing. That's the constant vibes he's putting out. He's
guy
like,
in an Xbox shirt with his Bliss on top. Yeah, and his trainers.
Talking of Kojima, we could see their Xbox project, which was announced at the 2022 Xbox showcase. We could have a look at the first proper look at that as well, potentially. So a good segue. Aaron,
I definitely planned that. But Hideo Kojima announced that his company is making a documentary about himself today, So I'm sure he popped up at the Apple event as well. So
Yeah.
this is the summer of Kojima, I think, because
Yeah.
we'll definitely hear from him. But if we hear from him, I think that's going to be at Summer Games Fest, because him
Yeah,
and Jeff
yeah.
are just the best of buds,
Yeah, absolutely. Just to summarize, I think we've talked about all these Xbox games. We talked about Gears of War, talked about Halo, talked about
What year is it?
Fable, like that sort of exactly. Yeah, but that sort of era, like if you didn't own an Xbox, like you were missing out on those games, and you like Xbox are winning. In my opinion, Xbox are winning that generation
Yeah, if you
comfortably.
didn't have an Xbox 360, you weren't one of the cool kids. You know what I mean?
I
If
think
people come into school and they were like, "Oh yeah, I got a PlayStation 3," I was like, "What? Well, why?
Yeah.
Why
The
have you done
amount
that?"
of arguments I had to have about why trophies are better than achievements on Xbox 360 as a kid. Do you know what I mean? Like just trying to justify it. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, I was justified, right? But I think it's the case of
But what you weren't justified in doing, Nathan, is carrying on being Team Green for no reason. You've invested into an Xbox Series X.
But I put my
and now
trust
look.
in a platform that had served me well before. I think
Yeah,
that's
valid.
the thing.
That's valid. Fair enough.
I think look, Nathan's not the only one. Like, I don't begrudge anybody for like wanting to play great games, and like there's a lot of multi-platform third-party releases that come to Xbox. Obviously, if you want to do that there, but exclusives sell consoles at the end of the day. And I keep going back to that Xbox kind of funny Xcast interview he did, where he basically says great games don't sell consoles, and I'm like, what planet are you living on, Phil? So, like, because they lost the Xbox One generation, they're losing the Series X generation. That's why they're smart to fight their own battle in terms of this Xbox Game Pass, the streaming subscription wars thing. It's just a shame that you will hit a ceiling with that. I think, like, games are getting devalued by the year. It seems like, yeah. Anyway,
yeah, and I don't want to. This is also massively on topic, but what are they doing the naming schemes? Are their consoles like?
Yeah, I think that is one
that
thing
doesn't
that
help.
puts a lot of people not entirely off, but it just makes it confusing, right? Like PlayStation is simple. What did you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done.
You had a Pro and a Slim in there as well. But
yeah, but even those, it's just like it's self-explanatory what that means. Okay, the Vita was a bit confusing, but
yeah.
But one Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, Xbox 360 S, or just
I don't know.
Yeah, just.
Yeah. And on that note, let's move on to something else very exciting that happened last week before we start getting into Xbox Game Pass talk and Aaron goes off on one again. So let's move on to the MetaQuest 3. The MetaQuest 3 was announced last week just before the Metagaming showcase that we did. So it wasn't announced during it. They decided to announce it in a blog post before it. So they had this amazing showcase that they could have done and they didn't announce it there. Totally not salty. But anyway, the MetaQuest 3 will launch as early as this fall with a 128GB model retailing for $499.99. It has specific improvements, including a mixed reality functionality, which is also known as like AR, augmented reality. It has improved performance, haptic controllers, hand tracking, higher resolution, and a much slimmer headset design over the MetaQuest 2. They have also claimed that it will bring double the GPU processing power to the table when compared to the MetaQuest 2 in the form of a next-gen Snapdragon chip. And unlike Sony's headset, Meta has also confirmed that the new console will be backwards compatible with the full library of over 500 games, which are available for the MetaQuest 2, with even more launching at the MetaQuest Gaming Showcase just last week. So, as a big VR aficionado, I am so excited for this new headset to launch. And I was really worried when I first heard about the MetaQuest 3 coming out. I was like, okay, I've got this massive library of games on the MetaQuest 2 because I've had my MetaQuest 2 for 2.5 years now, and I've loved it. I've bought tons of games on it. I bought tons of DLC on it, and I was like, okay, when MetaQuest 3 comes out, I'm going to have hundreds and hundreds of pounds go down the drain. And now I'm not going to. Thank you so much, Mark Zuckerberg. You've done one thing right. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But do you guys think you're going to be picking up MetaQuest 3? I know that both of you guys have the MetaQuest 2 right now, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know how much you guys actually play VR anymore because I feel like it's slowly starting to slip the bridges a bit. So maybe this is going to be the revival of VR. Are you guys going to be picking up the new headset? Or are you still thinking about it? Because at $499, that's a lot of money.
I think I need to see more VR games that take advantage of the upgraded power and the upgraded resolution of the device. I feel like I need to see more games where they sort of wow me, because if I buy it right now, say if it was out now and I could just walk to the shop and buy it, I'd just be playing older games that were developed for the MetaQuest 2 anyway, so they're going to look pretty similar. So I feel like I'd want to see a little bit more, but look, if there's games that take advantage of it, absolutely, there's no reason why not. And it looks amazing. The fact that it looks slimmer and sleeker and not as heavy is a huge thing as well for me.
That's what I'm really excited about. I'm excited about the slimmer headset design because it's going to be, not that the MetaQuest 2 is really heavy, but sometimes it's a bit annoying. So I am really looking forward to it being lighter. This is what I'm most excited about, is actually the augmented reality. Wait for this.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
That looks insane. That looks so cool. And obviously it's not going to look like that, I think. I don't know.
The Vita did this, though, in 2012. That's all I'll say. The Vita did it.
Okay, well, I don't know how well the Vita did augmented reality, Aaron.
Do you remember that cardboard VR thing?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that did that as well. If you can play Monopoly on it like that, I'm down.
Why aren't there more VR games that are literally just here's a board game? Like,
well, I mean, I play a lot of tabletop. I play a lot of tabletop simulator on my MetaQuest 2, I will say.
Okay, that's good, but it's not like officially licensed or anything like that, is it?
I mean, it's on Steam and it's compatible with VR.
Oh, what's Nathan laughing about? Is that
just the way you said? Just the way you said. That's good, but
oh right, sorry. It's probably because I was taking a sip of my nondescript lemonade can. But
okay.
Yeah, I in terms of like my excitement for the MetaQuest 3, again, it just comes down to the games, and I think for reasons both good and bad, Jasmine, when we reacted to that showcase, aside from that lady who talked, God bless her, a bit too much in between the trailers, like we were there for the games. All the games were MetaQuest 2 and MetaQuest 3 compatible. So I feel like the hardware is not being fully taken advantage of. And to be honest, like now that the price is cut for the MetaQuest 2, obviously they're going to see an increase in sales for that. And I don't know in the long run how well that's going to affect MetaQuest 3 sales.
I think the MetaQuest 2 has been the go-to VR headset for a lot of people for the past couple of years because it's standalone. It's relatively cheap compared to the alternatives. I mean, even the MetaQuest 3 now is still cheaper than PSVR 2, and it's standalone. And I know that it's heavily subsidized, but that's beyond the point for consumers. It seems like the go-to option. And the MetaQuest 2, like, you can sort of access games on a ton of different platforms, like the Epic Game Store or Steam, and that's just something PSVR 2 can't do, and it makes it the go-to option for many. So I think a lot of people, a lot of gamers, if they do have a VR headset, it is typically the MetaQuest 2. So I feel like I do get what you're saying in the sense that they can't just like drop support for the MetaQuest 2.
Yeah, that'd be silly.
They've only announced they've dropped support for the MetaQuest, the original MetaQuest, this year. Wow. They just announced that earlier this year.
Do we know how many units the MetaQuest 2 has sold? It's got to be in the millions, right? I would have thought.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Even PSVR, the original, sold in the millions. So, because that's the thing for the longest time. Like, not to bring up Sony again, but like for the longest time, the original PSVR was the accessible VR headset, because obviously everything else, like the HTC Vive, had to, I think I said Vibe then, not Vive, but hey, HTC, you can have that one. The HTC Vibe, that required you to set up like cameras, do all these crazy things.
Yeah.
And then the MetaQuest 2 comes along and then eats the PSVR's lunch, which is why it was extra especially disappointing when the PSVR 2 was still tethered. So, the MetaQuest 3, if it's a more powerful 2,
As of March 2023, there were 20 million Quest 2 headsets sold.
Yeah.
So that is pretty intense.
What I'm really interested in is how will it perform in the metaverse? Did they talk about that?
Oh, Nathan, what even is the metaverse? What even is the metaverse anymore? Like,
did they mention that in the showcase?
No, they didn't. No,
really?
Some sort of metaverse.
They didn't mention the terrible metaverse figurines that look like the Sims characters.
Whatever the metaverse is, right? They didn't speak about it because
wow.
I don't know.
It's all been shut down, isn't it? So Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, Jason's in the chat. It says hello, everyone. Just drop by to say hi. Hello, Jason. Welcome.
hi,
to
Jason.
the-
Jason, good to see you again.
But yeah, they didn't mention the metaverse, which is really, I don't know. I think it's kind of to be expected because they kind of dropped all the metaverse stuff very quickly after they announced it. I think they didn't really sort of anticipate
about
what
it.
it was going to be. Yeah, they were just like, yeah, we've got this cool new name. Let's just like use it to do the metaverse, whatever that's going to be. Yeah, so that's not really a thing. It wasn't included in the MetaQuest 3 announcement, as we just watched. It wasn't included in the entire metagaming showcase, which was a lot of talking between trailers. So there was a lot of opportunity for her to bring it up. Just saying.
Can I just say my personal highlight from that MetaQuest showcase was the a little game called the Attack on Titan VR game. It looked really good.
Let's not
It
talk
looked
about
like
this.
it looked like it was going to take so much advantage over the tech possible. Do you know what I'm saying?
I have, obviously, you guys know, I'm a big fan of Attack on Titan, big fan of the franchise, and I was really looking forward to this Attack on Titan game. There's been tons of fan made ones, and I will say when they showed the trailer, it was like official gameplay. So I was like, wow, hopefully it's going to look so cool. And then it literally looked like it was being rendered on like a computer from the 90s, like when they just figured out how to make animation for the first time. It was really, really bad looking. It looked like Wallace and Gromit. It was really, really
It
terrible.
looked worse than Wallace and Gromit. Like, yeah.
So my hope for the MetaQuest 3 has all this insane hardware. My hope for the hardware being utilized correctly was promptly knocked down after seeing that. And that's coming from a very, very big Attack on Titan fan. So I would say that is a bit upsetting.
Yeah.
So was that a yes or a no on the MetaQuest 3 from you, Alan?
From me, I'm not going to rush in to buy it day one. Was it Azura's Wrath, or something like Asgard's Wrath? Was that was their like big showcase game?
Oh, the big one at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, they spent like 10 minutes just on that game alone, and obviously the first one, as we later found out, was like very well received, and it's getting like got like 9s.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't ever heard of it, but yeah.
Well, that's the problem, really, isn't it? Like they need to do a bit better job about marketing these VR games. 100%.
Yeah.
Do you feel like VR needs a standalone AAA title that everyone like? It's almost to make sort of VR a console in itself, in a way where people buy the VR headsets just to play that game. Do you feel like it needs a game on its own at this point? That's how I feel.
I bought VR just to play Beat Saber. I will put my hands up and say that I 100% got mine. I mean, it was a gift, but the whole reason I was looking into getting one was to play Beat Saber, and that's it. And that's also what I now use it for. Like I played a bunch of other games. I played like Arizona Sunshine, Super Hot, Onward. These games which are really big in the world of VR, especially back when the MetaQuest 2 first came out. But I got it just to play Beat Saber, and I wouldn't say that's a AAA title or anything.
No, but as in like right now, if you were in the market for a VR headset and you wanted to play Beat Saber, you get the MetaQuest 2. You wouldn't get the MetaQuest 3.
Well, the MetaQuest 3's not out yet, Nathan.
No, but if it was out now, you'd go for the Quest 2. Because it's cheaper and you can play Beat Saber. Like
it's the same library of games across both of them at the minute. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it feels like the price is steadily creeping up for VR headsets. Look at the PSVR 2. Look at the MetaQuest 3. But it just feels like we need a dedicated VR experience that sort of breaks the barrier of entry where people go.
You're talking about a killer app, and I think that for a lot of people that was Half-Life Alyx. But that, like, the MetaQuest 2 and potentially 3 has a problem in that it can't run it natively. Like the 2's not powerful enough. You have to be either tethered or stream it from your gaming laptop or PC. So
that's the thing. You can do that. You can stream it from your gaming laptop or PC. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Aaron.
Can't do that from PSVR 2.
Well, no, I know, and that's a problem. Like, if I was PlayStation, knowing that PSVR 2 was coming out, I'd be knocking down Valve's door to try and get that thing ported to the headset. I'd pull out all the stops, and I'm shocked that it still isn't on that headset now, because I know people would really, really go for it. But obviously the problem there is that Valve they have the money and the resources to just, spend away. They don't need to worry about if Alex makes money or not.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of VR developers are finding. It's like, well, do we want to invest this much in what is still a niche audience? I don't know.
Yeah. Adam L
Does it
says
count as a
in the
niche
chat,
audience? Sorry.
I wonder how Redfall runs on MetaQuest 2. Yeah, I wonder that as well. Maybe we should give it a go.
I'll
See
try
how it
that. I'll
runs.
try that.
Yeah.
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 I will. I
Not
will try that.
well. Not well, I would guess.
I mean, it's not ported for VR, so it wouldn't
Yeah.
be like me actually using my hands. It'd be me
Yeah.
playing it on a screen in front of me.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
a
But
giant
I'll give
virtual
it a go
cinema.
just for you, Adam.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go.
The thing that
It
worries
looks-
me a little bit about the Quest 3, sorry to
That's right.
butt in, is that I know that the Meta Quest 3, they're probably losing money on it, or not making money on it, or not making that much money on it because of the price that they're doing it for Meta. But what does worry about me slightly is the fact that the Snapdragon chips are essentially mobile / laptop chips.
Yeah.
And
But that's the same as
We-
the Meta Quest 2.
yeah, but
It's not. It's
I
not
think-
the same sort of thing. This is why, like, the price difference is a bit more justifiable between the two, is because
Yeah,
the hardware inside the Meta Quest 2 is significantly like lower performance than
Lower,
that
yeah.
of
Yeah.
of PSVR 2, but that comes at the consequence of needing to be tethered. And I
Yeah.
would prefer to sort of take the performance hit, and because the games still run like really smoothly, really nicely. They don't look
Yeah.
as beautiful as Horizon Call of the Mountains does on PSVR 2. They run really nicely, so I'd prefer to take that performance hit and be completely immersed than see something like really beautiful, but the library of games is like there's like not even 100 yet. I think there's a 75,
yeah.
and have to play with a cable, which
Yeah.
is just really annoying in VR.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever
Well,
played VR with a cable, but it is
Yeah.
annoying.
I the way I use VR right now is I play VR on the with F122. They've got a VR mode, and you have to be tethered for it to work in any.
Don't you have to be
good way.
sat in like a chair anyway? Because it's like
Yeah,
you're in-
so it's not as bad because you're not
Yeah.
moving your head as much, so you don't need to. You're not standing up; you're sitting down anyway. So, but I think that's my point: is that I'm using it on games where, but I'm using it in a way where I'll do it for a short period of time. I'll do it for a short period of time, and then it's sort of I'll just go back to playing the normal game. It's not.
But that's because
it's
you
not
have
the
a
experience
rig,
that I'm going to.
right?
Yeah, I suppose.
So it makes
Yeah.
it a bit more immersive that way for you.
Yeah.
So I think it is dependent on what type of games you play, because for
yeah.
me, I love playing like rhythm games and stuff like that, because I play like Beat Saber and Power Beats VR a lot.
Yeah.
And it makes it really, and even stuff like Super Hot, which isn't a rhythm game, but is very based on how you're moving around and stuff.
Yeah.
So it makes way more sense to play those in VR. Like, I'm not going to play Super Hot on my PC, and it's just like nowhere near as fun.
Yeah.
But if you are someone that prefers to play racing games where you're sat down, then yeah, it makes more sense to just
Yeah.
have a dedicated racing rig.
Yeah, I want to ask Aaron actually. That when's the last time you used your MetaQuest 2?
It's a good question. I think it was when I used it for a prolonged amount of time. It was probably when the original version of Resident Evil 4 VR came out, which I think was like end of last year, if I had to guess. And then since then, it's
Really?
like mainly dibbing and dabbing. Yeah, like honestly, since we've been talking about all this VR stuff,
Really?
it has like piqued my excitement to like pick it up again, because there was that Peaky Blinders game that I demoed and it looked really good. But yeah, I it's very infrequent for me. Like, it's not
Oh
like
my god,
It's exactly the
pillar of my
same.
gaming
Exactly the
setup.
same for me.
that's
exactly the same for me.
insane. I thought everyone was like me, playing on VR all the time. I mean, I'm not
No,
playing
no.
every day, but I'm definitely picking it up at least. I mean, I've got 2 different headsets, to be fair, so I've got choices, but yeah.
Yeah, living in the real
Sorry
world,
to-
Jasmine.
Sorry to make you guys jealous. No, I'm never going to live in the real world. That's so boring. But before we move on to our next topic, which Jason has alluded to in our chat about the new Apple VR headset, I do want to say thank you so much to Aaron for being here, but unfortunately he has to shoot off. So thank you so much for joining us and not ranting on about Xbox Game Pass. I greatly appreciate that.
Anytime. Enjoy the rest. I'm gutted I can't talk about the Apple Vision Pro and the egregious price they're asking for it, but have a good rest of the show, guys, and I'll catch you guys later.
Say hello to
Thanks,
Phil for me.
Aaron.
I will.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll give Phil your number. See you later.
Cheers.
And then there were two.
Yes, it's the Nathan Jasmine show. Welcome.
Moving swiftly on to the Apple Vision Pro. I don't know how much you have to say about this, but I've got a lot to say. So I will start off with Apple unveiled the Apple Vision Pro, a revolutionary spatial computer that seamlessly blends digital content with the physical world while allowing users to stay present and connected to others. It is coming in at $3,499, which is about £3,000 ish. I don't think they've confirmed a price in pounds yet, but that is insane. That is like you could buy a car with that money. Come on, guys, think about where your investments are going. It's got more pixels than a 4K TV for each eye, and it has a custom micro OLED display which features 23 million pixels. I don't even know what you'd do with that many pixels, to be completely honest with you. It features high performance eye tracking using infrared cameras. And the main focus of this headset is actually augmented reality rather than virtual reality, meaning it's about using the computer whilst you're still in the space that you're currently in. So like using it for productivity purposes is what Apple showcased a lot during the announcement of it, using it as a computer, using it to FaceTime your family and stuff whilst still being in the environment that you're in. So, you know, whilst you're cooking dinner, you can have your family on FaceTime or be watching a recipe video up in the corner. And I don't know if you've seen what it looks like, Nathan.
Yeah.
But it looks like it looks a bit strange.
It's like a ski goggle.
Ski
vibe.
goggle.
Yeah.
And from the announcement video, I will say it's giving like that Black Mirror vibe a little bit. And I will say, hands up, I don't even mind because of how cool it seems.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really bad thing to say. I think I'm falling into the technology trap a little bit. But you know, unlike you, I don't really have like kids, family that I need to spend time with and stuff. So I can just get lost in the world of VR every evening and no one's gonna care, right? What do you think about it? Have you got any initial thoughts before, not on the price yet, just about what it is, right?
I've been a user of Apple products ever since the original iPhone, so I've watched a lot of keynotes, and it is never not hilarious to me that they never call their products what they actually are. Not once did they call this an AR headset. They refer to it as a spatial computer. It's an AR headset, guys. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just marketing speak. But I like it. I think it looks like an amazing piece of technology.
Look at this.
This
looks sick.
If you look at it as a computer rather than a headset, it makes more sense, because if you think about Apple's pricing, I'm getting its pricing. Okay. sorry, I went into the pricing. Okay, roll it back.
Right,
I think it's more. I think it's I just don't know.
Have you noticed that it's wired, by the way?
Yes, I did notice that. Yeah,
it's a wired device for $3,400.
You know what really annoyed me? That Tim Cook didn't wear it. That really annoyed me. I don't know why, but that really annoyed me.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
every Apple CEO, when they've launched a huge product, whether it's the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac, the MacBook, the MacBook Air, the iPod, the Apple Watch, every new product they've launched ever, the CEO has always had it on or had it in hand.
Yeah. And they put it out their pocket and then they go like, look, I've got the new iPhone that I've just announced. Yeah, and they make like a more razzle-dazzle about it. Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that Tim Cook didn't wear it annoyed me maybe more than it should have done. But I watched it as a sort of just in awe of it. But then I was like, I haven't got a need for it. Like,
who does have a need for it? Adam L says in the chat, cook a steak while watching Netflix or use it in the gym. Either of those are things you could do with your phone, you know, or an iPad or something.
Yeah.
You could just prop your phone up against like the counter or whatever.
Yeah,
against
I
the
do that.
kitchen,
Yeah, I do that.
and you just watch your Netflix there while you're cooking your
Yeah.
steak, or at the gym, you know, you're running on the treadmill or whatever. You just put your phone on the thing. It comes with a little thing for you to hold your phone on it, and you use it for whatever. I think you're going to look weirder walking into the gym, finding a plug for this thing because it's not
Yeah.
wireless, plugging
Yeah.
it in somewhere, and then
Yeah.
walking around the gym with your ski goggles on. Like, this isn't something that you could use on the go, I don't think. And even in your house.
I mean, I don't know. Will's in the chat, not the public chat, in the private chat that we've got. He says you can connect to your Mac desktop and then just edit as you walk around. I can edit as I walk my dog. He says you can edit videos as you walk. I think that
if you're walking around in a park editing videos whilst you're walking your dog, you're gonna trip on a rock or something and smash this 3,000 pound pair of goggles.
But that's an interesting point. That brings me on to the next thing that I was seriously impressed with is the fact that it doesn't have controllers. The fact that it uses your hands. That to me
is insane.
That's the biggest thing for me.
It is
That's
so
the biggest
cool.
takeaway.
And I think this is what makes it feel very Black Mirror-esque, is in Black Mirror when they're controlling stuff, because it's like implants in their eyes or in their brain or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just like going like this, and
it's a swipe or
hands.
Yeah.
And then seeing them do that in this, I was like, whoa, like this is next level. And the hand tracking on it looks very, very precise because it shows see if you
look what she's doing here as she's pinching.
She's just moving her hand very, like, you know, it's not like a very big vast movement across the entire sort of screen in front of her. It's a very small movement, just sort of, and it's swiping the entire screen. You just lay in bed, scroll through stuff. Like, I could be sat there scrolling through TikTok like that. Like, I don't even have to hold my phone or anything, you know? Like, it is insane.
But I think the thing about it for me, the way I felt about Apple for a long time is that Apple, it just annoys me so much that Apple always put gaming at the last of whatever they do. They're sort of not even interesting. They've not been interested in gaming at all. Obviously, they've got arcade on the phones, but that is a completely different thing to like a console gaming or gaming on the Mac. They've never ever saw gaming as an opportunity for them in terms of like a desktop PC that's good for gaming. It always felt really weird to me that they've never done that. But this feels like the first thing where if they give developers the tool, and I'm sure we'll go onto this in a bit because they've released a new tool that can help developers bring games over to Mac more easily now. The Vision Pro feels like the first big thing that Apple have done where it's like, okay, this can enhance your gaming experience against what others are doing. That's what it feels like to me. That it feels like the first sort of step forward for Apple for quite a while. The fact that Kojima actually he was in the announcement, wasn't he? Talking about gaming as well. It just feels to me like Apple are finally taking gaming seriously with this, and the fact there was a whole segment with it is sort of promising for people who've got Macs who want a game and people who want to buy the Vision Pro for gaming. It seems like, you know.
I think the thing is with Apple is that until now they haven't really needed to care so much about gaming because it was still seen as relatively like niche, even though it wasn't. You know, I feel like even prior to the past few years and lockdown and stuff, loads of people were gaming. It definitely wasn't a niche thing. It was just about how intense people were gaming, how frequently people are gaming. And I think lockdown introduced a lot of people to, you know, picking up a console because they had nothing to do all day, or picking up a gaming PC and stuff. So suddenly people who would go from just playing games on like their phone or occasionally like here and there on their laptops and stuff suddenly went into full-on gaming mode, and it was actually like a hobby now for them rather than just something they do here and there. And it means that now Apple do have to take it seriously because they're losing out so many customers to people who just pick up gaming PCs, like, you know, Windows, because everything's available on Windows in terms of gaming. It feels like you don't have to think about, oh, is it going to be compatible with Windows, like I had to do when I used to game on a Mac, because like, oh, sorry guys, I can't play Valorant. It's not compatible on Mac OS. Whoops. Like, you know, I couldn't really get involved with it. So, but now they have to do that. They don't really have a choice, because they're just going to end up losing out too much competition.
Well, if you make a headset like this just for AR, it's literally not for consumers. If you do that, like, who's going to buy it? If it's just purely AR headset,
But they haven't shown too many gaming applications with it, despite like the new sort of tool that they're releasing, which we can talk about shortly. This is the whole sort of trailer that we're watching now. They haven't shown any gaming applications with it, which is insane given the technology. And in terms of it being a full AR headset, I mean, Meta have already done that with the Meta Quest Pro, which came out last year, end of last year.
No consumers are buying that.
And that was made, they even said that that's not like a consumer first headset. That's like, it's for professionals. That's why it's called the Meta Quest Pro. And even that, they originally launched that at $1,500 and had to bring it down by 33% to $1,000 this March, because it just, I'm guessing, wasn't selling as many units as they expected. So bringing out this at more than triple the price of that headset, and it's essentially the same thing, but just running Mac OS and having, you know, the sort of Mac display that everyone, the main reason why many people buy iPhones is because it looks pretty. Like, I'll put my hands up and say that's why I buy an iPhone. I much prefer the OS because it looks nicer. I don't know who this is for at that price. If it's
we just watched, we just watched a bit of the trailer, and there was a woman in her bedroom folding some clothes with this headset on.
Yeah.
And she received a FaceTime call and answered it. And I was like, who is going to be? It feels like, I don't know, are we behind the times? It feels to me like
she's just like living her day-to-day life with the headset
on.
Yeah,
I feel like it's almost
what Apple are going for. That's what I'm saying.
But we're not there yet. We're not there yet, are we?
People to be there. I think they're the ones that are taking this insane step, and they want people to always be within the Apple ecosystem, to always be ready to answer. And that's why it's so AR focused, so you can get on with your day-to-day life and, like, you know, fold your clothes and pack your suitcase with the VR headset on.
To be fair, Apple have always been the type of company that take things away from you that you're used to and give you new things, because they feel like this is the future, even if you're not ready for it yet. So when they just got rid of USB ports on Macs and they just put USB-Cs, when they got rid of headphone jacks,
all
they've
of these
done.
things are things I'm now really used to.
But back at the time, back in the day,
going back and using like wired headphones anymore, because I'm always just using wireless, like. I use like G-Fits or AirPods, and I just think, oh my god, I was insane. I was using wired headphones. Ew.
But when they got rid of the headphone jack, did you feel like that was uncomfortable at the time?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I was like, this is crazy. I was like thinking at the time as well, because it was sort of just as they released AirPods, and AirPods were like £250-ish when they first came out. And obviously back then you could get wired headphones, like even a good quality pair, for like £10. I was just like, there's no way people are going to start buying AirPods. There's no way. And lo and behold, within like a few weeks, I went and bought a pair of AirPods because I saw everyone using them, and I was like, those seem so much more convenient to not have to worry about cables and stuff. And in reality, that's a very small feat. Like, I didn't need to do that, but I still did. As soon as I saw people like using the iPad and the Apple Pencil in school, this is when I was in sixth form, and everyone started switching to that instead of writing in a notebook. I was like, I'm going to go and buy an iPad and an Apple Pencil. I went that same day after school and I went and bought one. And I don't know why I did that, because like,
with your lunch money,
I had a part-time job at the time, and I used to save all of my money because I didn't have anything to spend it on yet. And I went into I was like, saving for uni. I'm going to, be a responsible teenager. And then as soon as I saw that, I was like, right, time to do something irresponsible.
Where's the Apple Store?
Literally. I went and bought an Apple Pencil, I bought an iPad, and I used it while I was at sixth form, but now I haven't used it since, because I don't really have a need to. But I still love that I have it. I just have an Apple Pencil sat in my cupboard. Why? Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. So Apple are that kind of company, and it does feel a bit uncomfortable to watch that trailer because I do feel like as a society we aren't there yet. And I thought we were years, if not decades, away from that. In my head, in terms of the way technology is moving, but Apple don't think about now; they always think about the future.
I don't know about
when they release
decades
things.
away because it's become more of a common thing now.
What, to just walk around with the headset on constantly?
Well, I mean, people are starting to get implants in their fingers instead of having a debit card. You know.
Yeah, but not like Dave down the street. Like,
Well, this isn't for Dave down the street. You know, this is for those people who really want to like invest in making their life solely around tech. I don't want to say making their life easier because I don't think that's necessarily the case. But for those people, it might be more convenient to always be switched on. And that for me, like, sounds really cool in theory, but would probably be my worst nightmare. Just always being in this like this ecosystem of like, I just open my eyes when I wake up in the morning and I've got like all my apps in front of me. And I haven't even like sat up yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that sounds.
Well, I think that's why they're clever to call it spatial computer, is because they're getting sort of rid of that stigma about headsets where
like
they're
VR.
So they're calling it a computer, but I mean it is a computer. It's got a GPU, it's got a CPU, it's got a processing unit, it's got everything that a laptop would have within it. It's got displays, more pixels than a 4K TV in there, in the display system. So that, I mean, if you were on the forefront, the cutting edge of technology, and instead of a PC, you wanted something like this. I mean, this didn't exist before, right? They've done something that is revolutionary that hasn't been done before. But just I always look at
producer Will was saying earlier about walking his dog and editing videos at the same time. I don't know if he's serious or not, but that is a really good application for it in the sense that people who use MacBooks for productivity purposes, there's a reason why they use MacBooks for productivity purposes, right? And it means that they're not gonna sort of just pick up a standard VR headset like the Meta Quest 2 and launch straight into virtual desktop or something.
There's professional app.
There's reasons why people who use a MacBook when it comes to like work purposes. The software that's on it and stuff specifically is designed to work really well with the processor that's in it and etc. So for those types of people, having a computer like this, even for that price, because Apple's computers sometimes are this expensive.
Well, that's what I was looking at. So
it's not like that groundbreaking.
I was looking at the Mac Pro.
Normal.
I was looking at the Mac Pro, which always astounds me because I'm thinking, who the hell is buying that? Yeah. The standard Mac Pro with no extras is £7,199.
They're insane.
If you were to put,
some people buy them.
Yeah, if you were to put every additional pre-installed software adopted, every single,
it's going to start piling up.
£12,647 for the top spec. Yeah, loads of people are buying them. Loads of professional applications and companies. So you'll think, if you think of this as a computer, it's gonna be bought a lot because it's just an experience that hasn't been done yet. And I know we're gonna move on to the gaming side now. But I think Apple have released a Proton-like environment. Where it's like a game porting toolkit that you can translate Windows games to run on Mac. So that will help developers bring games to Mac in a way that they haven't before. And I feel like Mac and the headset are in a great position because they've got so much power in these CPUs and GPUs now with the M2 chips and the neural engines and all that kind of stuff. I feel like they're ready now to port games to them, and I feel like we're going to see a lot more of those developers looking at the Vision Pro and being like, "Oh, our games will run really well on that. Let's put our game on there," sort of thing.
Yeah, because it opens up games to entire new audiences. Because for a lot of people that have MacBooks or iMacs or this Vision Pro, which is coming out next year, they probably, not all, but some will not have Windows computers. So it's like a whole new world for a lot of these people. It's like something that they've never been able to access before. So they are developers. It makes so much sense for them to do this as soon as they are able to, because suddenly you have this massive new audience of people who are yearning to be able to play games on their MacBooks. I mean, I definitely was when I used to have a MacBook and not a Windows computer. I used to be really upset because my friends would be like, "Oh, we're playing this today. Why don't you play with us?" And I would be like, "Well, I literally just can't." Yeah, I can't. The only game I could play, which is why I have such a big love for it, was League of Legends. League of Legends was one of the free-to-play games that was compatible with Mac, and it was very rare that you could find that amongst free-to-plays.
The Sims, you can just
Even
about
The
get
Sims-
away with.
Even The Sims, your laptop sounds like it
Runs
is
bad, yeah.
It is taking off. It sounds like a rocket ship about to go into space. It gets so loud.
Same with Football Manager as well. If
Have
you
played
load
Football
too many
Manager on a
leagues,
Mac?
yeah, obviously, yeah. I play Football Manager on every single device I can get my hands on. If you load too many leagues and stuff, yeah, it just sounds like it's taking off, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's clearly not optimized.
No,
So.
but coming back to my original point, it does feel like now Apple have looked at gaming and thought, okay, this is the time. Them releasing this new game, the way it works essentially. This is from The Verge, by the way, who've written an article today on the toolkit. It's basically similar to the work Valve has done with Proton and Steam Deck. The tool will instantly translate Windows games to run on Mac, allowing developers to launch an unmodified version of a Windows game on a Mac to see how well it runs before fully porting a game. Apple have never done anything like this before. This does feel like a sort of a line in the sand for Apple, where they've gone, okay, now we have to take this seriously. We have to give developers a reason and a clear path for you to take your games onto Mac. And I do feel like, imagine something like Starfield, for example, when that comes out, open world. Imagine that on the Vision Pro.
The only thing I'm thinking with porting games to Mac and to the Vision Pro is that they're not going to be ported in a way that's VR compatible. They're going to be ported because it's going to be too much work for the developers to do that.
Developers are clever, Jasmine.
It's
really clever.
If it's specifically for the Vision Pro, then I just don't see them doing it, because the audience that are going to be accessing the game on the Vision Pro is not going to be big enough, because the Vision Pro.
But it's not a VR headset, Jasmine. It's an AR headset. So you'll play the game on a screen, so the resolution will be really high, but you're immersed.
But that's what I'm saying. You're not going to be playing the game as if you're in VR. You're going to be playing the game as if it's like
the screen's in front of you.
The screen's in front of you, and you're going to be sat on the sofa just playing the game. And as cool as that is, you can just do that. You just turn all the lights off in your living room and put the TV on. Do you know what I mean? And I get, it's not going to be like however many pixels it has. But 23 million pixels, it's not gonna be that many. Cool, but my TV's already there in my living room. I don't need to pay $3.5.
Surely it's capable. Did they show any VR capabilities where you can look behind you or like anything like that, or was it all just in front of you?
It was all just in front of you.
Surely it's capable of that experience.
I can imagine it is. Because they showed like panoramic images going sort of quite stretched around.
Yeah.
So I can imagine it.
I think they can do it. I think
but the thing is that given it's a spatial computer and not a VR headset, it's not going to translate like you're in VR. It's not going to translate like you're walking through, or flying through the solar system.
Imagine if it did though, and you're just moving it with your hands, and you don't have any controllers, and you've got that kind of freedom of movement that you don't have with controllers, because you have to be. And
then you walk too far away and you trip over the cable because this thing is wired, even though it's so expensive.
Only to your phone though, isn't it?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's wired for power, and then you can get a portable battery separately, which gives you 2 hours of battery. Is all 2 hours.
How much is the portable?
I don't actually know. Apple Vision
How?
Pro
I'm
portable
guessing a lot of
battery
money. A lot of money.
price.
Have they said how much it is?
I don't think they have confirmed how much it is. I'm not seeing anything anywhere.
So it's got a separate battery that you need, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So you can either be plugged in to, I'm guessing, a wall or your Mac.
Right. Okay.
But to be able to use this portably, you need to buy this battery, and they haven't said how much it is yet. But given the device is,
I mean, if you're
$3,500,
spending $3,500 on it, you can afford the battery, whatever price it is.
well, yeah, you definitely can, but it just feels like, obviously the Meta Quest 3 isn't going to have 23 million pixels or however many.
Yeah.
But, they're investing a lot into AR technology now as well. And it's not going to be, running on Mac OS or anything, but that is also a dedicated gaming headset. So you can, if you want to experience Starfield when they finally port that to, if they do port that to VR, if you want to experience Starfield in that sense, you're going to need controllers. But, the Meta Quest 3 is also going to have a lot more development in hand tracking technology anyway. So you never know what that's going to be like. And
I'm just thinking
is like 10% of the price.
Yeah, I know, but if you think
like 10 of them.
If you think in 6 to 12 months' time, just imagine we're in a scenario where the Vision Pro can play AAA titles in VR through Steam or another compatible app, right? And it can do productivity and professional stuff. That then, if you look at $3,500 as a price for a really powerful PC that can do productivity, that can deliver that experience as well as gaming, that then becomes a completely different proposition in terms of price. Then that price is looking, the Mac Pro is $7,000, but I can buy this and have the same productivity, and I can also play games on it. That's when it will sort of change the perception from an average Joe point of view, because at that point, why do you buy a computer then at that point?
At that point, you guys are never going to see me again. I'm going to be lost in the world of Apple Vision Pro. When I first saw the announcement for the headset, I'm not going to lie to you, I was like really considering just like pulling all my savings out and just buying one.
Just
and
slapping it down.
I got a bit excited because of all the videos and stuff that were coming out, I think. And now that I'm a bit more like, I've thought about it, I've slept on it, I've come back to reality a bit, I've realized that's insane. But given that that's how I felt when it was initially announced, and that was just based on the trailer and the fact that it's for like productivity purposes, if there are gaming applications for this thing, that's what I'm saying, you are never going to hear from me again. I'm going to vanish off the face of the earth and disappear into Apple land. I am never ever going to come out of this headset. I'm going to be one of those people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Jasmine, do you want to go out for dinner or something?" I'm going to show up with my ski goggles on my portable charger in my hand.
Just look through them,
yeah. And I mean, it is cool that you can see through it. This was one thing that they pointed out in the trailer that they did, is that the goggles are actually see-through. So if you have it on whilst people are speaking to you, they can still see your eyes and stuff. So it doesn't feel as uncomfortable as when you're talking to someone with an actual full VR headset on. And that's where I think you were correct in that they're trying to take this big technological leap forwards and make it more normal for people to be wearing these things all the time, because you can see people's eyes through them. So slowly it will become normal to just wear these things around. So I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to be one of those freak people. Before you introduce me to your new friends, you're like, yeah, this is Jasmine. She wears VR goggles all the time and never takes them off, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even Dave Snelling, who's the technology editor on the Mirror, shout out to him and the work that he does on the Mirror for the tech channel. Thanks, Dave. So he wrote in his review. He was there. He tested the Vision Pro at the Apple headquarters when it was released. And his opening line in his piece, go read it on the Mirror website, is, "I've got to be honest, I'm no fan of VR. I've tested plenty of virtual headsets in the past, and the experience definitely hasn't felt like the future." And by the end of his thoughts, he said, "This is Apple's first attempt at VR, and it's going to totally change the way it's perceived and used. I was incredibly skeptical when I sat down for the demo, but what I witnessed just might change the future of work, play, and entertainment. If you don't believe me, just wait until you get a chance to test it out when it comes to Apple stores next year." So even for someone who's never been a fan of VR headsets, I'm guessing they only gave him half an hour.
It's going to change the world.
And that's a half an hour demo.
He does say in that preview that he used it for half an hour.
Yeah.
One thing that I found interesting that he said in that preview was also that there was a lot of like custom fitting for the headset to work correctly in terms of like eye tracking and even the actual physical thing on his head. And he stated that they told him when the headset comes out, that's what the what consumers are going to have to do as well, is that like when they buy the headset, they're going to have to get it custom fit at an Apple store first.
Right. Okay.
Which kind of it starts to step into that Black Mirror territory of getting an implant put in your head, right? Like you, they show it in all the Black Mirror episodes when someone's going to like a doctor surgery or a surgeon or whatever and getting like this procedure, and it's like suddenly it starts to sound a bit more like that, in that, okay, you have to go to the Apple store and get this thing custom fit on your head.
Close your eyes.
Right. And it's like, look in all of these different directions, your eyes and stuff. It's not just something that you can do at home. You need like professional expertise in order to set this up, which I think definitely highlights how far this headset is going to take us to the next level in terms of technology, whether it's gaming or not, just in terms of productivity. Like, this is really going to take it to the next level. And even if this doesn't have gaming applications, all this is going to do is push other developers of headsets like Sony, like Meta, like HTC to feel like they have to go this far with it. So even if right now Apple decide, hey, we've tried this new tool, developers aren't really getting along with it well, we're not going to port a lot of games to VR the way that we sort of expected to, HTC, who are, fine makers of premium level VR headsets, are probably going to see this and go, wow, let's do that for gaming.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even if it doesn't happen right away, within the next 5 years, I think just this coming out is gonna really advance VR. Because if you think about how much VR has advanced since even the Quest 1, which was 4 years ago now. Think about how far we've come. You don't even need controllers anymore. So
the fact that Apple are doing it as well. Apple for better or for worse, what Apple normally do is they launch something at a ridiculous price and they give everyone else an excuse to do the same thing at that same ridiculous price or slightly lower, because Apple have gotten away with it. So it does feel like Apple doing it is a considerable step forward for VR in terms of the whole industry, because it'll just open up a brand new market for people who've never experienced it before, and there'll be a lot of people going to Apple stores and trying it on for the first time and stuff. And that really reminds me of the iPod, the battery bank, doesn't it? It just looks like an iPod.
Yeah, it does. It's the
really,
silver color of it, because I feel like Apple's kind of strayed away from that silvery color and they move more towards either white or black, and now they're going back to their roots.
But man, they know how to design something, don't they?
It looks really good on. Like, I think the back bit looks a bit strange, but from the front, just when someone's wearing it, like, that looks really cool.
Yeah,
that looks really cool.
Yeah, even the strap as well. That looks really comfortable.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but
really
if it's going to be custom fit to my head, it doesn't even matter what it looks like anymore. It's probably guaranteed to be like a really nice, comfortable fit, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, in summary, just as someone who's like had Apple products before, there was a lot of marketing speak in there about things that people have already done and renamed them certain things. But at the end of the day, that the thing that they've launched could be for gaming, could be a huge leap forward for gaming if the tool is what they promise and it gives developers the opportunity to develop games for it, and we see that sort of trend, that could be a huge leap forward for VR.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Guys, tune back in a year's time to see me doing the podcast with the headset on.
We'll both have it on. I'm
gonna be transported to that world, I tell you.
Yeah.
And on that note,
On that note as well, we'll be streaming the Summer Games Fest tomorrow evening, so tune in for that. We'll also be streaming the Xbox Showcase on Sunday evening as well, so keep tuned for that. We'll be reacting to that live, and we've got a few more interesting live streams. On Friday, we're playing Fortnite, aren't we? On Friday
We
as
are
well for
playing
the new
Fortnite.
season, so
We
really
are.
looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
if
we'll
Fortnite
play.
isn't proof that technology isn't advancing, I don't know what is.
Exactly, yeah. But so I just thought I'd get them in before the end of the show.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for joining me today, Nathan. I think that brings us to the end of the walkthrough. As well as the streams that Nathan's mentioned, be sure to check us out again, same time next week, 4 p.m. BST, right here on the Mirror Gaming channel for the next episode of the walkthrough, where we'll probably be discussing all of the things that we saw in a lot of the gaming showcases that are coming up. So we'll see you guys there. Thank you so much for joining us, Nathan. I've been your host, Jasmine Mannan, and I am looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.